Dream a little dream of me. Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica the Story Witch, and this is my video for day 29 of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge, which is, oh, I'm dropping the sheet of paper, which is hosted by Ethany, and I'll put the link to the challenge and all the information down below. This is actually going to be my last video because I'm not going to make videos for the last couple of questions just because, you know, they didn't really resonate with me that much, and yeah. So this one is, how do you feel about tarot deck modification? Do you draw on your decks, trim the borders, or is it a no-go for you, and why? So this is probably going to be quite a short video because I can just say no and then turn it off. But I'm not going to, because it's something that's the reason why I wanted to answer this prompt, because I feel like I've got some thoughts on this question. Otherwise, what's the point? So I didn't know that deck modification was a thing until I started watching YouTube, which was, I was watching some tarot YouTube, like sort of Kellyanne Maddox and some of the kind of more like how-to, I suppose, kind of stuff from before, more kind of witchy stuff, I suppose, than tarot stuff, for a couple of years. But it's only been like the last year, a little bit longer than a year now, that I have been more involved in the community. And so deck modification just wasn't even on my radar. I hadn't seen any modified decks in real life when I've been going to like events or fairs or anything like that. And so I was like, whoa, when I saw that this was a thing. And, you know, there's some really awesome people showing how they do their deck modifications. Veronica Jude, if you haven't watched her channel, you should go over and watch her channel and subscribe to her channel. She's amazing how she talks about tarot and what she does with the deck. She doesn't just like modify them. She somehow like elevates them to a whole new possibilities of readings and things like that. By the way, it is a craft, the way that she modifies her decks. And there are other people on here sharing how they do their deck modifications and things as well, which has been really... Renee, Meadowlark Mystic as well, you can go and see. She's got a couple of videos where she talks about her deck modifications and how she's done them. So I'll link those two channels down below this video in the description box as well. So if you want to go and check out some people who actually know what they're talking about, you can go over there. There's also groups on Facebook just for deck modification and information about it like this. If you're already part of the tarot community, which you probably are if you're watching this video anyway, then you will already know about this and you'd be like, but Jess, I already know about this, why are you talking about it? The reason I suppose I'm giving this backstory is because I am starting to feel ready to modify a deck. It's taken me about 18 months and I'm nearly getting there. And I have a deck which has already been modified, which I've bought Circle Punch as recommended by Amber in Wonderland, who also does some deck modifications, so you can go and check out her channel too. And it's adjustable, so you can adjust it for different sized corners. Well, you just kind of shove it in a different place for the different sized corners and then you just punch them out. So I have the tool. Haven't actually used it yet. I've probably had that about 2 months. I'm working up to it gradually. And I have a deck that has already been modified, which I feel like I could round the corners on that, and that would be a kind of soft way in to deck modification. I have done some edging on an oracle deck that I've got. I did some just edging, and that was kind of quite straightforward and it was fine. So I don't know why I'm kind of holding back from it. Time is one of the things, because I feel like I don't want to start the deck and then kind of leave it half done. I want to make sure that I can finish it and get it in a good usable fashion. And I'm also a bit concerned if I do trimming that it's all going to feel the same to work with. I do have quite small hands, and so trimming down a deck would actually be quite sensible for me, because I find like the smaller really the better they are. Even some of the ones like the tinned decks, the little tarot and tinned tarot in a tin, why is that a tongue twister, decks, I find can be good for shuffling for me, because they're like nice and small and they work quite well. And you know, like some decks come like this is the Everyday Witch and it is borderless and it is beautiful. I do like, aesthetically, I prefer the look of a borderless deck. And I have, so the newer decks, I think they seem to have taken on board that lots of the people who are into tarot prefer borderless decks. So a lot of the newer decks you can get borderless now, but still quite a few of my decks have borders. Like this is Joie de Vivre, and I've looked at this a couple of times and thought, you know, I think that would look really lovely. Like that border doesn't offend me in any way. It's just a white border. But you know, like sometimes when you've got the cards all out and you have got cards next to each other, perhaps in a particular spread you're doing, and somehow I found like when you have borderless decks, the pictures almost flow between the cards. The relationships between the cards seems more, well, it's not bordered. The cards can flow into each other more so than when they've got the borders on and you've got the neat little boxed in, you know, each card is much more framed and on its own than it merges in with the other cards in a reading. So that is kind of why I'm interested in it, but I'm also a little bit nervous about doing it because I don't want to mess it up basically. And you know, it's not like most of the decks that I have are mass market decks. I could probably quite easily just replace it if I did mess it up, but it almost feels a little bit kind of, it's like giving one of my friends a bad haircut is something that I wouldn't want to do. So I am holding back. But for 2019, I didn't mention it in my goals video actually as part of this 31 Days of Tarot, but it is something that I've written down as something I want to try. I don't think I'm gonna, although it seems to be a bit like getting tattoos, you know, it's like once you've got one, you feel like you want to do more and more. I'm not sure if that will happen, but I have written down on my goals list for 2019 that I am going to modify a deck. So we'll see how I go from there, and I'll share perhaps about it if and when. Hopefully I'll do it because, you know, usually I'm pretty good on doing the goals that I have set out. So yeah, we'll see. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you've watched some of my other videos in 31 Days of Tarot as well, I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you're a part of the challenge, then I look forward to seeing your videos and learning more about your channel and you as well. So yes, I think that is it. I feel like I don't want to say goodbye because I know this is my last video for this challenge, but I am going to have to say goodbye, so stop talking. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon. Da, 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 da.